So for the second half of 2023, our investment theme is keep calm and carry on. And where we're really coming from that theme is that we expect in the second half of the year, and perhaps a little beyond that, investors will be facing two competing narratives in markets. We're likely to get the very optimistic one, which argues that the US avoids a recession and that one should chase gains in equity markets. But we're also likely to get the extremely pessimistic one, which argues that a recession is imminent and one should retreat to the safety of defensive assets. Our view is that a more balanced approach might make sense, and hence a more calmer assessment of where markets are that balances both that upside and downside risks. And I think some of that comes through in the specific investment picks within calm. So C in calm really stands for capitalizing on market opportunities. A big one we see there, of course, is in the bond market, where we believe bond yields are not far from the cyclical highs, so they represent an attractive opportunity to lock in that yield for a longer period of time. But equally, it's an opportunity we think up to upgrade equities to a core allocation, which helps balance what we think are upside risks in the short term and maybe downside risks in the longer term. That's of course the C. A in calm, of course, for allocating broadly. And I think the point here is more that we just believe in the second half of this year, we're at a point in the cycle where a diversified approach will outperform a more concentrated approach. And that's not only about the opportunities in bonds and to some extent equities, but also about diversifiers like gold, so keeping a broad approach. L, of course, is lean to Asia. And to some extent that speaks to how to take advantage of one's equity allocation. Look around the world for value, we just think Asian equities, including Japan, are where we see more value, or at least more attractive valuations, but equally, of course, in Asia dollar bonds, looking beyond high quality government bonds. And finally, the M in calm is about managing volatility. We discussed the upside and downside risks, and we think that equity sector views are a great example of how one can manage that volatility. So in the US, just as one example, we like the technology sector because if the rally extends for longer than we expect, we think it will be led by the tech sector. But equally, the healthcare is an example of a more defensive sector that delivers should growth slow more quickly than we expect. So it's really at a broad rolling that up to calm. And taking a calmer approach to a market without falling prey to either excessive optimism or excessive pessimism.
Today we are very excited to launch our second half global market outlook, and we have had our team, a CRO office team here in Kenya, and one of the things that is very key as we get into the second half and we are telling our investor is to be calm and carry on. And calm here is an acronym that as we've coined to actually talk about the need to actually capitalize on the existing market opportunity, which we are finding mostly in US dollar investment grade bonds. Then to allocate broadly, and that's a subject around diversification, which is something we always ask our clients that at all times stay diversified. From an equity perspective, we are leaning into Asia, including Japan, where we are finding that the valuation there are attractive for clients actually to get in, and for the long term we see those markets as quite variable. Asia does not mean China specifically, it's actually the broader Asia market, including Japan. And of course, we're asking our clients to also manage the volatility at this time by looking at opportunities to invest in certain areas like technology in the US, where there's a little bit of rally, but at the same time balancing it off by looking at some of the defensive sectors, particularly the healthcare sector. So managing volatility by staying invested in tech, but also defensive in the healthcare sector. So that's the market outlook. That's what we're really going to be advising our clients as we allocate portfolios going to the second half, and we look forward to having a really good conversation within our investment advisors team.